Doras na carach the bus on clear agus to Dublin agus Johnny Mac as Alan Drum is Misha Tomon, you know. A little bit of our native tongue, the Irish language. Will we do the tour in Irish? You're saying no, we'll do it in English. There you go. So we'll tell you more about that at the moment. Have a look to the front of the bus. There it is, the tallest street sculpture in the world. It's the Monument of Light. It's 120 metres tall of rolled steel, designed by the English architect, which nicknamed the Spire, the Spike, the Pole in the Hole, the Rod to God, and the Stiletto. Yeah, the ghetto, that's a good one, isn't it? There you go. The Stiletto and the ghetto. To the right is Henry Street. You're going to do a bit of shopping there later on, ladies. You can shop, you drop there on that street there. We have a service we provide here. It's called Husband's Daycare. You go off shopping, ladies. We mind your other half. We go visit the 600 pubs in Dublin. All you have to do is pay for his beer and my beer, and we'll look after the rest, no doubt about it. On the right hand side there is the General Post Office, the GPL, very iconic building. If you look closely at the pillars, the column, you see bullet holes and markings, which clearly happened here during the 1916 rise. Easter Monday, the post office was captured by the Irish volunteers. There was heavy fighting for about a week here between the people of the country here, the volunteers, against the British Army in the Easter rising. Eventually, after a week, the volunteers and the people surrendered here. After catch him, no doubt about it. The driver comes to my house. There he is. Aslan the line. Further on here, some more features here I want to show you. Just past the Greek embassy here on the left hand side here. You see the light over the door. Check it out here. This was introduced in the 17th century during the candlelight law, which was brought in by the government. So there was no street lighting here. As about the law said about every fifth house had to provide a light over its door. There's one there on the left hand side. And if you look at the green door here, has one a candle which is not illuminated, but gives you an idea what it was like here back in Georgia and Dublin. So it was the first form of street lighting here in the city here. And if you look at the windows of these houses, you notice anything unusual, but actually the windows actually get smaller as you look at the roof of the building. It's a very clever illusion to make the building look taller. And they also said there was a taxation on glass here in the 18th century. The bigger the windows, the more tax you pay to the crown. And the doors are very colourful. They're red, they're green, they're blue. They're known as the doors of George and Dublin. We're always asked here, why are the doors in this area of Dublin painted different colours? One of the stories doing the rounds was 18th century Dublin. It's quite different. There was no post addresses here. There was no street lighting, as I mentioned, very little. And all the doors you see were painted black doors. So picture the scene. It's a dark, foggy, wet winter's night, and the gentleman goes out for a walk as one would do, and he finds a nice pub or a bar. And he goes in, he has a couple of jars, he's having a great time, and he looks at the pocket watch, and it's getting a bit late, and he's feeling a bit tipsy, so he decides to head home for he gets in trouble with the lady at the house. Up the street he goes, up the steps he goes, he opens the front door, up to the first floor, up to the second floor, up to the third floor, up to the bedroom, takes the boots off the end of the bed, jumps into the bed, and that's where the trouble starts. He ends up with the wrong wife, the wrong bed, the wrong house, and that's why the doors in George and Dublin are painted different colours. So the gentleman will know which house is his and come for the book after a few pints of beer. And this is about the time that these men were diagnosed with being colourblind, there you go, or also known as blind drunk, no doubt about it. On the left is Stephen's Green, as the song goes. Oh, Dublin can be heaven with coffee at 11 and a stroll down St. Stephen's Green. And there's no need to worry, there's no need to hurry when you're a king and the lady's a queen. Grafton Street's a wonderland, there's magic in the air, there's diamonds in the ladies' eyes and coldness in her hair. And if you don't believe me, come and meet me there in Dublin on a sunny summer's morning. Here it is, St. Stephen's Green on the left. Beautiful 26 acres of landscape gardens. There's some rose gardens, bandstands, and the best fed ducks in Dublin in this park. It is a little bit ahead of them, and we're going to be stopping right beside it here now in the next couple of moments. On the right hand side is the Shelburne Hotel. Beautiful hotel, 5-star. It's been a hotel on that site since 1824. The Irish Constitution was drafted in the hotel here in 1922. Famous guests to stay here: Princess Grace Kelly of Monaco, Laurel and Hardy, Charlie Chaplin, Omar Sharif. They've all stayed here. The Kennedy, the underneath, which separates the city in two halves. So we're now heading. So we're just crossing over the River Liffey now. We're actually now on the south side. So the River Liffey separates the city in two halves, and there's always been a general fun and banter, you know, between the Dubliners, you know, what part of the city you're from. And me myself, I'm a Dubliner. Friends twice in my life, mostly a Dubliner. The second to be a north sider of the city. There's always been a general fun and banter between the north and south siders, bragging like who's better than who. We say some of the south side ladies here in Dublin are a bit like the royal family in Great Britain, born. The next morning, there was a truckload of stuff for everyone except me. And I remember there was 2 weeks when my wife was setting the table for Sunday dinner. And she set an extra plate on the table. And I said, don't tell me, I said, your mother's come for dinner again. She goes, no, Johnny, she says, it's Bob. And I said, who's Bob? She's the driver from Amazon, she says. He's come for dinner again today. We're getting back to normality. We certainly are. Right, let's continue on here. More stories, more history, more writers and playwrights. Let me tell you about the great Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde was born here in Dublin in 1854, and he's probably one of the most quoted writers ever of the English language. Some great quotes, Oscar, the likes of...
Back to the history. Now we're heading out on the St. Kevin Street now, folks. And if you take a look just on our right hand side, so straighten the bus up now, have a look to your right, you'll see the deanery associated with the cathedral. This is where the Dean of St. Patrick's would live. Now one of the most famous deans associated with St. Patrick's was a man named Jonathan Swift. And Jonathan was the Dean of St. Patrick's from 1713 until his death in 1745. And while he was the Dean of St. Patrick's, he would have wrote a very famous novel. Anybody aboard the bus know it? Maybe a drop of the black stuff is. We're heading up to the home of Arthur Guinness, the brewery itself. The storehouse, as it's probably better known today. The Guinness turning with gold in great store. Sure I never will slay that wild rover no more, and it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more will I play that wild rover. No, never, no more. I returned to an alehouse that I used to frequent, and I told the landlady my money was spent. So I asked her for credit, and she answered me nay, saying a custom like yours I could have any day, and it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more will I play that wild rover.